But that's an intro. That's
Yeah,
an
you're not
intro.
ready for that. You're not ready for that intro. You know what I'm saying? You're not ready for that intro. Bang things, you get me? Yeah. Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. You know what? It's good to be back with the gang. Okay, this is Marriage UK. I've missed them. I know you guys have missed the marriage conversations that we always have, the deep introspective convos. You know, so I appreciate them for coming on today. So today I'm gonna be sitting down with them and interviewing them, maybe having a conversation, talking about all things marriage for them. So you're gonna get a bit more insight into the magical couple. All right. So 20 almost years, 20 almost years now, 20 plus years.
It's 20 years tomorrow.
20 years tomorrow, guys. Listen, this is the model, guys. Okay, you have to understand. Listen, when people are doing longevity, we have to find out the gems as to why they managed to stay that long. You know, so we celebrate you. All right. For those of you who are new to this channel and you're probably wondering what the heck's going on, don't worry about that. Just make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, and you click on that bell button for the notifications of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Boot up. Okay, so today's conversation, like I said, we are having a sit down with This Is Marriage UK. All right, you would have seen a lot of our lives that we've done together where we spoke about all things marriage. And today I'm going to be interviewing them. But before I do, I want to let them introduce themselves, let them know where you can find them and who they are as well. All right, Curtis, take it away.
Bro, it's an honor. It's been too long.
It's been too long, bro.
It's been too long. So what was supposed to be like a 3-week break turned out to be about 4 or 5 months. But yeah, This Is Marriage UK. We have those conversations. UK based though. We intentional about that. We have those conversations around relationships of all kinds. Whether you're married, single, or divorced.
Got a fluff in your head.
Yeah. Married, single, or divorced, dating, all of the categories out there. We do that because...
And single.
Did I say single?
Did you?
I think I did.
All right.
Because we didn't have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? So we're helping people navigate. It's a tricky world we live in. So we like to just talk about what needs to be spoken about without the grime, you know. And we interview couples. Bro, next week it's you and us. It's you and us next week. But yeah, we're just here. We're grateful to be on the show to just help people navigate this journey of relationships.
But who are we? What's your name?
Sorry, what's my name? I'm Curtis. Isn't it?
I'm Juanita. Yeah, we've been married for 20 years tomorrow. And today we're here with Little Black Book. I am the #1 fan, but we are here with Little Black Book. Just sharing our story, sharing parts of our story, sharing the lessons we've learned in the 20 years and whatever else he has to throw at us. We will handle it with grace, just a little bit. So thank you for having us. We have been on a break, looking after family, just getting through this situation of the pandemic, because we didn't take a break when it first started. So our break came later and it was well needed. But it's nice to be back.
We love that. Man, I appreciate you too as well. You know, you've helped me a lot as well. Rethink, you know, re-strategize, you know, internalize some things that, you know, maybe we had some kind of myths within our mind concerning marriage. So I decided I was going to bring questions. But before I do, I want to maybe do, you know, a little bit of a game. I'm going to ask you a few questions, just a few light questions, you know. You know what I'm saying? Almost like when you were married the first time when they said raise a shoe for who does what. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to ask you a few questions here. You know what I'm saying?
Go on, true, bro.
All right, very light. First question is this. Who takes the longest in the shower?
It's me, innit?
Yeah.
The shower's my place, man.
Yeah, the shower is...
What are you doing in the shower?
Bro, let me tell you. You know, when it comes to water, man, it's me. I'm chilling.
He fixes in the gym.
I break a sweat. I want to sleep. I love just sweating out, man. I love it. Say no more though, because that could go places. What am I doing in the shower? I'm showering. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hey, I ain't judging you, bro. All right, cool. Question number 2. Who cooks the best?
I don't answer that like that.
I'm doing that.
Why are you doing that?
I'm doing that because I like what he cooks. He could do it back to me.
I don't cook the best. I do cook. We cook so it depends on what's going on.
It depends on what we're cooking.
Okay, so who cooks the best, and then who has the best signature dish?
I'll say you.
Just a touch.
It helps me saying him because that means they'll just cook more frequently.
Yeah, I know. I see you.
You really think that? You really think that of me? I'm gonna cook for you. Oh,
You just draw him in.
She'd been manipulating me all this time.
That was a move. So
you ready for that, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, love that. Okay, question number 3: who would you say is the funniest?
Come on, man, give it to me.
Are you the funniest? You got different humor.
No.
Then it's me.
It's me. We can't agree on that. It's me.
There are certain things you do that crack me up, but and I'm not going to say what it is.
Yeah, it's me.
All right then.
He really don't want to give it to you, does he?
All right then. Take it.
Okay, love that. All right, cool. Who is the best driver?
Depends.
Now, you see, I don't know if you want to go through statistics or if you want to go with the facts.
No, just keep it short. Jesus, keep it short.
When it's you only had one accident. I had quite a few. I do the most driving. I don't know.
I'm better in town.
Is it?
You're better on the motorway because I don't like motorway driving.
I do the motorway driving, innit?
Yeah.
I love that. And number 5, last question: who's the disciplinarian?
No, man. We're the same plate, man. We're the same.
Same, but he would do more talking. You know what I mean? Not that I do anything else, but when I would just talk quick and I'm done. You get me?
Blah, 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 blah.
Kurt would just talk and talk and talk and talk, and that is enough. Yep, the discipline's there with the talking. So
finished.
He does. He can sit there and do the long sit down at the table and talk.
That's diplomacy. That's not we're both disciplinarian. We've got that similar approach. It's just that I will spend longer on it.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. End of the course. Love that. Thank you.
Whoa, we passed. That, man.
We passed, man. Flying colours, guys.
Yeah.
Flying colours. You didn't have an argument. That's the best thing about it. That's the best thing about it. All right, cool. Obviously, I know your story, but the audience don't really know your story, right? You know, I know they always see you guys on the channel, and we always do great work. But I want to ask this question. So, it's been 20 years. Let's dial it back 20 years. Where did you guys first meet? What's the story behind that? I know people have 2 different stories usually. So, Curtis, you want to go? Do you want to go second? Yeah, we'll need to go first. Yeah, no, you say that now.
Yeah, Acts 2000, I think.
All right.
Well, I saw him years ago, like when he was about 14, maybe 15.
Jeez.
I just saw him passing. And I sang with his sister. I did a course of his mum years later. And I remember at night, his mum said, I got a son your age. I was like, never, because she looked so great. She looked so young. And then years passed, I think 2-3 years after that. And we were at this big kind of event for youth. It was a church event. And then he happened to be in one of the dorms for the day. And I went and we were just talking about what I did for a career. And he was interested in that. And then that's how we first started to talk. Wow. So I got his number. No, he took my number because he wanted to volunteer in my services. And I was the type of person back then. I'm like, I ain't calling a man regular, you know.
Volunteering in the youth service.
In the youth offending service. I said, I ain't calling a man regular. So I was waiting for every Thursday, you know, that was a long time to go around to call him. And then I remember seeing him another time. I sing. So we were doing a gig in Canary Wharf, a Christmas gig. And I was looking in the mirror. I was going to link this guy who wasn't of God. I know God was like, nah, this ain't the one for you, straight. And I wasn't listening. And back in the day, we used to have a mobile phone call. Well, it was powered by, commissioned by Mercury 1-to-1. I don't be that old to remember Mercury 1-to-1. But we had Mercury 1-to-1 phones and earpieces were just one ear. And reception was just terrible. It must be like a 1G or something like that. And I couldn't hear this guy who wanted to link me after the gig. And as I was looking in the mirror getting ready, I saw him come in to the room. And I saw his reflection, obviously, looking in the mirror. And I just clearly heard, and I'm not that type of person that says, I heard this and I heard that. But in that instance, I just thought, what if this is your future? And then we didn't really have communication after that. And then we started to kind of talk weekly. And then it went, we became friends in February 2000. He asked me out in the June 2000, and he asked me to marry him in the November 2000. So it's a really, really, really short period of time before we knew each other, before I said I do.
Oh wait, hold on again. Just rewind that. Sorry, my brain didn't. It caught it, but it didn't catch it.
We're not trying to recommend everything we did, you know.
I'm not saying you should, but obviously still, you know, because I know there's some people out there that will happily say that you guys are now the model, because I always get that. That's the exception. That's the model. But I mean, I'd love to know. Wait, so rewind it for me a little bit, just a little bit to the dates. You guys met.
We started to talk in February 2000. After a few conversations, he asked me out in the June 2000. I said yes. And then November 2000, he asked me to marry him. And then we got married in August 2001.
Okay, so it's still like a year and a bit, even so. So it's still actually a length of time.
And it's quite a short space of time from going out to asking to be married. It was like 4 months. Just over 4 months.
Okay, wow. Okay. Curtis, can you corroborate that same story? You know, in there, can you corroborate that same story? Did it look different for you?
True.
Is that just in case?
I think when she has a version of it, but it's not that it's different. It's just that I didn't see her until, you know, I'd seen her here and there, and I think when I saw her at her church, that's when I was like, rare. You know what I mean? Rare. What? And then I think when we started to talk, she didn't talk like the other girls. No disrespect to them, but she stood out. It was what came out of her mouth as well. And she just got a different voice, a different way of speaking. And I made up my mind. You know, it was the time when she stepped. I said this before. She stepped in. I was living with my gran at the time, and she stepped in the house. Before she was wearing this tight dress, and I saw her walking. Yes, and she was walking down the road to me. Yeah, that looks nice, but you can't come in here like that, man. she can't come in front of my gran was what? How old is she? This is about like 70 something. She's an old Jamaican gran, and I thought, I can't bring that home, man. You got. So I didn't say anything. And as soon as she approached the gate, she put her cardigan on, man. This is me. That's the one.
I had respect for the granny. You get me?
You see? She showed some values. You understand? This is me. That's the one. That's when I knew. When I say the one, I'm saying I made up my mind to say I'm going to marry her.
Committed.
That was the Jedi mind trick. I knew what to do.
I could do other bit, some magic here and there, some little manipulation here and there. But when I saw that, I said, that's the one.
No, it's just that we're old school, you know what I mean? So it's like, I kind of knew that. I was wired of that. You go to a certain place. I didn't realize I was going to go and see his grandma. You always got a little cardigan. You always got a back then we used to wear slip. You get me? People don't wear slip now. You just straight through the gums. But back then we used to have a little thing called a petticoat that was under your skirt.
Yeah.
Oh, you get me? Oh, what's happened to the phone?
What's happened to this phone?
Right.
Anyway.
Can you still hear me?
We can still hear you, so go on.
Well, we used to have the petticoat on, bruv.
Mm-hmm.
And that petticoat would cover all your sins under your dress and your skirt. So I had one of those on.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had my cardigan in the car, just in case, because you don't know who you're going to meet. And that was time to go fully modest for the granny. And it worked. It was sincere. It wasn't let me try and impress granny. It was just a thing you do. You grab you know what I mean? You make yourself decent in front of grandma.
Okay, I hear that. I love that. I mean, so then so you guys got Curtis, you proposed quite early. Someone might say, right? To the younger generation, we might be thinking, bro, you might have lost your mind a little bit there, bro. It was a bit too soon, right? You know what I'm saying? So what made you take that bold step though? What made you say, I'm gonna be that committed? Because being a girlfriend and boyfriend is already committed, but you want to take it one extra step and say, yeah, I want to marry Juanita.
Generally, if there's something I want, I would just make a decision and just run. I'll put the blinkers on and go. And so I knew that I could always be choosing, or I knew that I could try and make this work. And I'm thinking, I want to get married tomorrow because I want to live. I want to spend the majority of my days with. So these things were in my mind. And I had no reason or excuse. I'm a thinker. I had no reason or excuse to wait. I'm looking for reasons to wait. Why would I wait till month 6? Why would I wait till year 1, 2, 3? What am I looking for? And I knew that month 4, I had seen enough, but I knew that it was for many early. But in me, I was like, I cannot honestly say what I'm waiting to see. And I'm sure that if I go to someone else, I'm going to see something else. So I couldn't justify my reason for waiting till month 5, 6, 7. Also, I was really trying to be intentional about life. And so everything that I'm doing is working. Yes, it's true. And everything I'm doing is about that. So when we decided, I was everything that we was doing together was about something we had planned for, and that felt good.
Juanita, let me ask you a similar question because, okay, the man understands, he knows where he wants to go, obviously, but you're being proposed to. What made you say yes? Within a short amount of time, you just met this young gentleman. I know you saw him when he was a little bit younger too. All right, the lovely, beautiful chocolate skin he's got on him and everything like that. But what made you say, actually, this one is different. I need to say yes to the ring?
Do you know what? I wasn't a girl who sat down playing with Barbies getting married. You know what I mean? Back then we didn't even have black Barbies, so it was quite tricky. And I didn't think about a dress. I didn't plan a wedding in my head. I didn't plan getting married. It was just, we're here in it. Whatever happens, happens. Whilst I was growing, whilst I was going through life. And I remember there was a seminar in church, and it was like a single seminar for, I don't go to these things, you know what I mean? You're just out there, whatever. And I went in and we expected, I remember kind of dressing up in a certain way and expecting to see, you open the door and see like men galore sitting there, waiting for his Esther to come through the door. And it was not. It was just like about 10 people in the room and they all looked just dry. It was like, why are we here? And the pastor said, I remember her saying, if you meet somebody on Monday and God has you to marry them by Friday, if that's the will of God, this is what you do. And it kind of went over my head. I've never heard such things in my life. Carried on going. Never thought about marriage because I never saw a direct model of it. My grandparents were married. My own parents, they weren't married. And we had come from a difficult childhood with domestic violence and having to flee and stuff like that. So it wasn't really I wasn't intentional about being married. I never thought about it at all, to be honest.
Wow.
And to be honest, the examples we saw around us weren't anything to sell it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't anything to go by. So my view was, no, I wasn't sitting there waiting for marriage at all. So when Curtis first even asked me out, I said, I didn't answer him straight away. I said, can you give me a minute? And I said to God, I know I told you to find me somebody because I'm doing a rubbish job at it, but
here he
I
is.
didn't think he was going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, give me a minute, Lord. I didn't think he was going to do it. So when he asked me out, it was like, okay. And then when he asked me to marry him, there was a lot of shock. There was a lot of, I didn't see myself as being one of the first to get married or getting married. I don't know how I saw myself. I just don't think I thought about it, to be honest. So with saying that, with my yes was certain. I knew that this was the man for me. I knew that this is the man I asked for. I knew that it was evident that for the first time in my life that I recognized that God was interested in the issues of my heart, in the affairs of my heart. It wasn't just my conformity to him. He stopped being a taskmaster when I met Curtis. It was like, oh, you're actually interested in the affairs of my heart, in the issues of my heart, in what I need and what you think I could do with. So I said, yeah. I said, yes, just as quick as he asked. I said, yeah. My family were like, nope, you wait. You don't know the man, he's going to kill you. So I was like, let me see if he's going to kill me, innit? Let me have a go. So, they were like, wait, it's too soon, give it 2 years. And we were like, nah, the doors are opening. Stuff for the wedding, the doors were just opening, like bam, 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 bam. Bought a house, bam, everything was just opening up. So we was like, let's go through. So it was all right. It was the best decision I've ever made in my life, apart from choosing Christ. This was the best decision ever.
Wow. So, okay, so just a follow-on question for Juanita. At the time, obviously, before Curtis, says he wants to be with you, not even marriage, just wants to be with you, right? Yeah. Are you looking for someone to be with, or was this something that just kind of hit you blindside?
I'm somebody, I'm in a circle, we're singing, we're out, we're about, we're moving around. Life has no attachments. It's cool. I had boyfriends, but they weren't long. I just felt like what they wanted from me, I couldn't give, because I said I wanted to be in a committed relationship, in a marriage, before they got that. And then I remember kind of being held on by a string by this guy who was the total opposite to Curtis. And God saying to me, I knew him from school, but it's like he came back into my life then. He came back with a new faith, a new religion. And then when he started to kind of curse Jesus, I thought, this can't work. This can never work at all. This has got to stop. But I remember thinking, I can't let go of this because I'm going to be by myself. And it sounds like quite a simple analogy, but I do remember God saying, you're broke now. You can have 50 quid if you want, or you can let go and be brass and I'll give you an unlimited supply of cash. You know what I mean? I'm not equating my husband to cash. I'm just saying it was an analogy for me. And I also remember hugging that guy, God rest his soul. And I remember hugging him and then just feeling like, this is not for you. Like this in here, what I have within me, it doesn't belong to you. And I just remember letting go slowly and thinking, this is not for you. And I made the decision, nah, it's not for you. And I'll wait to see who it's for. And so that's what I was doing in the interim. So I was dating for short periods, not feeling satisfied because I wanted a commitment before I went in certain places, and not finding anybody who I wanted to settle with. I was also going out of guys that went to church, and I found out there was a difference between church man and a man of God. You get me? So yeah, so that was a big distinction, and none of them did I want to settle down with. So it was It just felt right. It felt very natural to be like, yeah, this is good.
But you have to be brave to say yes. That's at that early stage. I think where you're alluding to as well is like what's behind it. You have to be brave. Were we brave? Maybe. For us, we were brave. For us, it was a thing to do. But I guess when you look back, or if you look at others, it's like you have to be brave.
We were young. We were like 23, 24.
23, sure.
Yeah. Didn't know nothing. So, but yes, okay then.
Okay, one last follow-up question for Juanita. Just because I think we have a lot of women on this channel, so this is one of the hardest things. So you just made a point there that you knew this person that you were with beforehand wasn't right for you, but then you've also told us as well that your kind of upbringing was a little bit of turbulence in there as well in terms of what you had seen. Yeah. How did you find the wisdom and the strength to deny that toxicity? I don't want to say toxicity, but deny that this wasn't right for you, and know that there was something better. Because a lot of, I want to say women specifically, because we're talking about you, Anita, but women specifically find it very hard to leave that guy there because, I could be alone. There might not be nothing better that comes along. How did you manage to see that there could be green grass on the other side?
Well, I knew I was on AstroTurf, so I knew it wasn't health.
You knew that from there.
I knew that from there. I knew that from because I knew the person for years. But what I didn't know.
Wow.
And there was a period of nothing. So I didn't know. I remember I said to you that God said you can hold on to this 50 quid, or you can be brass for a bit and then wait for the unlimited supply of cash. I didn't know. What I did know was that who was the most important thing to me, Jesus, which is Jesus Christ, was not the most important thing to this person.
Okay.
And not only that, he was actually demeaning him. So I knew that gave me enough strength to say, this definitely can't run. It can't work. So that was very helpful. Yeah, that made it easy. I think if it was something maybe even lighter, that maybe I don't know. I smoke. Oh, I can't take smoking. Hang on. What else am I gonna say? I don't know. I go to the casino once a month. Maybe that wouldn't have been so blatant, but I still had in my heart that this is not the life I wanted to live. It doesn't marry up with my values, and I'll stay by myself for a while. And because I didn't know God was interested in the affairs of my heart, let me see what he's gonna do here. And I gave it a shot.
Okay, so I think what you're saying is the moral of the story here is get you some Jesus, okay, so they can guide you. Because that's what you basically said to us. You just said basically that it is because your love for God and the fact that this gentleman wasn't loving God that really made it very plain and clear. I don't need to be here, which is what gave you the boosters or the battery in your pack to say, I can't stay here. I need to move. And
I'm not putting myself morally above the person.
Of course,
saying I'm all that. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, I know this can't work. You know what I mean? This thing here cannot happen.
Okay, I hear that.
I think that's a very important point. You know, in relationships that are dysfunctional, it's not necessarily that they can't work; they just can't work as they are because people aren't really aligned. It's not about being perfectly in a straight line, but I think that when you know you're in something that is I think that it's very easy to delude yourself into thinking that this is it. This is as good as it's going to get, or we're going to make it work. It's like you've got to put in certain kind of work. And sometimes when you're in a relationship that is like, this is not good. You have to have something behind you, or a set of morals or code or something to say, don't settle. We're not talking about struggles. We're talking about this is not going to work. Either the way it is or with this person. Make that move. Do something affirmative. You know what I mean? That's a struggle for people a lot of the time. And that could be an issue in marriage as well. But yeah.
Good points. Okay, so then now we get to a stage, obviously, you want to get married, stuff. Okay, I think I heard a little bit. Was there a little bit of opposition? Or at least things that were said to kind of say, maybe you two shouldn't get married because you guys are young as well. I guess I want to ask the question, how did you deal with the opposition? Or how do you deal with maybe people saying, I'm not sure this is where you need to be going. Are you sure this is what you want to actually do? How did you move away from the dissuasions that might have been coming, your way?
They weren't too loud, There wasn't much.
I had a friend of mine that did that.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to sway us.
I think my parents were, but are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Same with my mom.
And one of my good friends was like, "Don't you think this is a bit early?" And I'm like, "No, let's get married. The worst that can happen is we get divorced. Let's do it. I'm gonna make an affirmative move." You know what I'm saying?
I get you saying. Okay.
But I think people generally, not people, family more so. Family and one or two people really close was like, it's a bit quick.
Yeah, not don't do it.
It is a bit quick.
But wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no one said don't do it. They just said just give it time, get to know each other. There was a classic 3-year wait thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in our culture and in our, and not even in our family's culture, in our kind of church culture, you kind of date for a while and it's like 3 years and then, you know what I mean? Then you go through, but we just thought that's too long.
If we did that, we would have.
If we wouldn't have lasted, isn't it?
Oh, just in time, boy.
Yeah, I hear you.
You can't play with that, man.
I hear that. Okay, so now you guys get married and stuff, and but did you guys have a plan before did you have a plan of what you were gonna do in marriage or anything like that, or was it just you guys young, just free in love? You know what I'm saying?
You know what? We did have the privilege of premarital counseling.
Okay.
So that opened up, it was very short, but that opened our eyes up to some things we didn't consider. And we also did like a weekend away on a engagement retreat, which also opened our eyes to things like differences in personalities, into budgeting, into how you manage money, into service and sacrifice. We did that all in a weekend, and we found that very useful. But
no, wasn't enough.
Nah, not to prepare you for this. Nah.
Do you know what?
Go on, you can say it.
I think that there are some cultures that are all about preparation for marriage. It's great. Everybody's thinking the same. They're very small disparities between them, in terms of values. But in the Western world, we're going to struggle with this, right? You can't really have enough counseling before marriage to get you through marriage. It's just not going to happen. It will last you 5 minutes.
And we recommend it because we do it. Yeah. So we recommend premarital counseling. Look us up for it. We do recommend it. But when people ask me even now, I say we're learning on the job, mate.
There are principles. It's not like the pastor's going to come and tell you that you've got to listen to her more. It's like, why? Why listen to her more? Why be more conscientious? Why serve? You can serve. You can dish out food for someone and iron their clothes easily, but that's just that's an action. But it's what's behind the action. So there are a set of values that Juanito and I learned the hard way. Some of it, luckily, we got from old school. I say old school. It's just what it's always been. There's only one way, and that's the old school way. But just to throw that in there. But what we've learned is without much counsel, but it's the hard way because we've had to find out through conflict, through wrestling, which looks like the end at times for some people. But it's like, how do I learn how to serve? It took me years. And some of what I was doing in years past was like, I will hand you a glass of water. But actually, when I hand you a glass of water now, it's because of something deeper.
Do you want me to take it?
Yeah, take it, please. Yeah, that's it. I can pass it back there. So counseling is like, you need it before just to see you well on the road. But the oil you leave the house with, you can't use it all the way. You've got to pick them up on the way.
Okay, I'm hearing.
Oh man, I could preach on this.
I know you can. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so I want you to touch a little bit then on servitude within marriage, because it's quite funny. I was speaking to someone about this, and I think that's been the one word that's been on my mind and heart about what marriage is. What place does servitude have in marriage, and what does it have in what role does it play in your particular marriage? Servitude.
Do you know, as I said, I was talking about that engagement retreat, and I remember they showed us act of service, which was washing each other's feet. Like Christ did that example before he had communion with his disciples, and that was a beautiful act of service, but it's also like a rite of passage as well. It's connected to a rite of passage. But in the home, you can't be washing feet 24/7. And culturally, there's no need for it because we're wearing shoes. Do you know what I mean? And socks, hopefully. So what we do is, as part of service, is kind of your everyday, mundane, day-to-day stuff that people will think, oh, is that it? So if I'm ironing for us both. If Curtis is cooking, he's cooking with me in mind. Like the other day, he said, I made this for you. And I was a bit cheesed off. I said, really? Like, really, dog? You made it for me? And he was like, I made this for you. Couldn't help. When I tasted it, I was like, that is beautiful. Because it was made for me. That's servitude.
But it's for the whole family. But
it was for the whole family, but he was thinking of me. Servitude looks like, I know she likes the house tidy. She's gone out for a long day. When she comes in, I'm going to do my best to keep it tidy. Servitude could be, you know, I know he's always out there mowing the lawn. Let me try and do it this time. So servitude doesn't look like nothing special. There's no magic dust on it. It doesn't look like anything in lights. It's like your everyday stuff. I mean, if you had to take it to a different level, also intimacy is part of servitude as well. You're serving each other there. You're looking after each other there, each other's needs in that circle as well. But servitude looks very normal if you saw, but then for some it's not. Some people it's like, well, he ain't got no money. He has to iron his clothes. He has to cook his dinner. I ain't cooking his dinner because I'm vexed. It's like,
real.
That really happens for some people that we know. But servitude for us is actually, you might come and think, is that it? Because it's quite normal. It's quite everyday stuff, to be honest.
Like that.
I like that. Okay. So then, how did you? Okay, I know you said obviously about the retreat. Kind of spoke a little bit about servitude. When did you notice the importance then in servitude in your marriage? When did you realize? Yeah, this is a very important concept. One needs to understand.
I think it's a growing thing. You know, we've heard every sermon there is to hear over the years. We've you know, you've heard the best of gospel music, and a lot of time these messages, they go in you, but you don't process them. They're just like dormant messages. And I think that circumstances that God sends sometimes or allows for you to kind of, you know, I want to bring something out of you. And it's a gamble for God in a sense, because it's like we could react badly, or, you know, we could jump out the boat. And so when God is bringing out the bait, like, he sends you circumstances, and then it clicks one day, something you heard 10 years ago, or something you just heard, but after 10 years of marriage, I've got to do this for a different reason. Or even when I'm angry, I still need to put the same amount of care. I need to put the same amount of salt in this food, angry or happy. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, I remember even my mum and dad, who up and down marriage, right? Very up and down. And no matter how angry they were, my mum would still make sure his food was there. And she would say, don't touch it, it's for your dad. Do you know what I mean? And so servitude is like quite, it's a lot broader than we think. So like, even when you take it down the route of looking at sex. And I remember mentioning a gig we did once with someone. You go into, when you're young, you go into sex thinking, what can I get and how much can I get? And then as you get older, if you learn about servitude, you start to realize that actually sex is what can I give? So when you reverse the mindset, you reverse it into the mindset. And as Christ reveals himself, it's like Christianity asks you to put others first. But I think culturally, especially here, it's not even just here, people are trying to get. And so servitude is like, what can I give to you? And that's the focus. If everybody has that mindset, you know what I mean?
And everyone gets.
Everyone gets. But you have to understand, what we're talking about right now, as with all these questions, is stuff we have to maintain. Like, some things are here to stay, but there are some things like servitude, which is outside of us. It's not a thing that is natural to us. We have to keep feeding that. We have to keep watering that plant. And sometimes you forget, I haven't watered this plant in ages. Why am I so unhappy? Why is it a struggle? It's because you forgot to water the plant. And then sometimes you look at the plant, you think, is it even worth saving? So it's like with things like servitude and selflessness, it's like 20 years in, I still, if I forget, I'm in trouble. And sometimes the reflection of that, it doesn't, you don't even see the direct connection. So you could have conflict and not even know. It's like, you just ain't humble, or you ain't serving. You haven't got that servitude mindset, or anything it could be, but you don't even connect. So it's like, there's a lot of reflection that needs to be taking place, because servitude is connected to so many other things, you know?
What are you gonna add?
No.
Okay.
I was just looking at you in deep contemplation. That's all.
No, it's deep. Servitude is a very big thing. Within marriage, and I think if maybe there was more lessons around it in marriage, maybe we might see more successes, like you're saying. Because it is one of the key components to, I think, saving a marriage, let alone even keeping about saving it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Can I just throw this in?
Yes, you can. Go for it.
It is a challenge. I was just looking at a comment by David Adekoya. The thing about servitude is that you really have to go against yourself. Sometimes I've had to come back to myself and really tear myself up, because I'm on a journey. I'm not just here to be married. It's like I'm on a journey to leave a legacy, to put a smile on someone's face. The truth is, it's not natural to everybody. There are some things that between Winnie and I is so foreign, but for many couples, it might be really just fundamental that Winnie and I struggle with. So a lot of this 20 years isn't like to say, hey, we're not busting champagne. Do you know what I mean? We're like, Winnie's mantra is stay the course. It's no joke.
Yeah.
When you start to be selfish, and selfish sometimes looks so justified when you're angry. I'm not looking at it like it's you.
No,
I'm saying, do you want to say
it.
something like?
No.
Yeah. That could be a problem if I get it. If to get this right. So, sometimes, you know what it is? Let me show you this. A lot of couples get married with this thing called love. We don't even know what love is until we're about 10 years in. I'm going to tell you that now. Nobody. Secondly, they get married with a level of independence.
What does that mean?
It's like, when we say two become one, some couples have no intention to become one.
Bro, you're reading my mind, bro. You reading my notes? You're in the spirit. Go on, sir. Go on, sir. I was about to ask you that question as well. Go on, sir.
Ask the question.
No. You got it, bro. You're flowing.
Some couples don't have any intention to be one. So when Winnie mentioned his money, my money, money, her money, that's some. No. Let me not say it. Let me not say it. But I would say, if you're in,
You nearly spilled the tea. That's
hey, gotta sip that water carefully, man.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah. let me tell you. You get in and you're like, there has to be some level with some couples of power retention.
Ooh.
Do you know? Identity retention on a that value system is not for marriage, but we try to kind of weld it on there, stick it on there, and it changes the values of everything else. It's like in my opinion, a cancer. You see a lot of it in the American shows, and you're like, actually, you are not together. You just live in the same house. You're like business partners. So that thing of servitude is like, actually, my money's your money. Let me leave it there.
But sometimes it doesn't come natural.
Yeah.
So it takes time, and it's a process. But it's if you're willing to stay, as I always say, stay the course. If you're willing to stay there for that process, because you have to acknowledge you've come from totally different places, different households, different ways of doing things, different values. And although people may look at me and Kurt and say, look, they're both Black Caribbean parents, heritage from Jamaica and Britain and St. Lucia, wherever, it's very similar. It is so not. We've got so many different experiences. And something as small as where Kurt would like to leave all the shoes at the front door when you come in. I'm like, I didn't grow up like that. I just said the other day, I didn't grow up like that. Them shoes have to go away. You know what I mean? People are not supposed to see all your shoes at the door like that. Something as simple as that is the two of you coming together as one and making a compromise. So the compromise now is that most of the shoes go away and I'll keep the one that he will be wearing frequently out. it seemed like a small trivial example, but it is actually a process of you saying, this is how I used to do it in my house. You know, we used to use fairy all the time, and you use, I don't know, Ajax, or you don't. It's like, well, we're going to have to come together and buy the little version. Do you see what I mean? You come together to some kind of compromise, but it doesn't happen when you say I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in a minute. So sometimes people throw scriptures like, you know, the two should become one, or can two work together lest they agree? And it's like, the process of that, it's a process.
Yeah.
You have to go through the process. You do not agree at the aisle. You do not agree in the first 2 or 3 months. No. It takes time to become one-minded.
Yeah.
And still then after 20 years we are still very different in the way we think. It's just that one of us maybe can concede a bit quicker to the other one.
Oh, no.
That's me. The other one's way of thinking. It's like, all right then.
I see you digging at me live on TV, You're digging at me live on TV.
But other than that, it's a process. The whole thing, the whole shebang is a process. I think that's when we see certain people bow out. We're like, no, hang on a minute. We're still in a process. This is supposed to happen. It's natural that you're going to disagree and argue and have to come to a compromise. It's part of becoming one. It's a mystery, the Bible says.
There was a question that was obviously asked even in the chat, which I think is really good because it's still along the lines of what you guys were talking about, and it says, can you ask them what they think when people say they grew apart? Is it possible, or do the couple just give up trying? And I think that's along the lines of what you guys are also talking about. You know, do couples grow apart genuinely, or they give up trying? Like what's the story behind these particular scenarios?
I think the term is quite it needs to be defined a bit more, but I think we hear the term and it's like it alludes to people grow, you know, literally just doing this. For example, Juanita and I, we have to keep reaching back, and your body and your emotions and your everything about you, when you go through certain things, can really, for some people, they will run naturally away. There are Juanita and I, if she runs that way, if I run that way, one of us will grab back, even if we don't think, even if we may feel that we don't want to. Not everybody has done that. And some people have more of a challenge with it than others. So growing apart, it is, I think in marriage, because we're both very different. We've got a different way of thinking. We do this naturally. Let's be real. We do, Juanita and I she thinks her way, I think this is what we do every single day. That's the real. So yeah, we grow apart every second. And it's like coming back. And that's sometimes coming back. You could scratch each other. You could hurt each other. You could tread on a toe. But we got one. We have to come back. It's no joke. It's no joke. You should come back, man. People do grow apart, but you got to claw it back. You got to run back.
Lots of things make you grow apart. You know, health, wealth, other people, jobs, pressure, stress, COVID. Yeah. These things will naturally make you grow apart. Life, debt. Getting up, debt will make you grow apart. It's just that you have to run to come back together. So yes, people do grow apart, but in the growing apart, we got to turn back and Velcro back together. There's lots of things pulling you apart, but come back together.
And it only works if two people try. You know, at the end of the day, if I'm moving mad, or if I'm moving far, when it will try to grab me, I'm gonna want to come back to where she's trying to grab me to. But at that point, it's dependent on her work to try to make this work. And sometimes you see someone over there, your partner's over there, and you're like, I'm gonna have to let them go because they have no intention of turning. And then you wait later on, and I'm talking about married couples now. You have to go and get them when they're ready to come back, which is another debate now.
No, it is another debate. So obviously, if you are kind of like drifting apart, what makes you both say we want to come back? Because like you said, if you are going in your direction, what what is the opposite force that brings you back and says we should connect again? We should not allow ourselves to go too far and come back and unite.
We made it. We made a decision. We made a commitment. Curtis all says that there is no fight exit. So there's no way out of this, or you're gonna burn up in here together, and we don't want to be burning. So it's like I can feel when he is moving off, and he can feel when I'm moving off, and it is as simple as sometimes a squeeze of my face, a gesture, or I can feel something's not right here. We're moving far apart. It's like we're aware of it. Where it's like, say for example, I don't know, you're in Jurassic Park and you know that out there is the fences with the electricity. Do you know what I mean? You know when you're getting close to the electric fence, like you're moving away now. You're going into the danger zone. Stay within the safety. And so we have a conversation about it, a transparent and honest conversation. You're distant to me. I can feel it. You're not moving the same. What's going on? I don't like it like this. I don't like to see you like this. I don't like us like this. We're very direct in having those conversations because it's not a nice place to be. It doesn't feel right. Nothing feels right. Nothing works when we're in distant places.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
Honestly, as well, sometimes we call each other back out of principle.
Okay.
So it's outside of emotion, outside of the desire. Sometimes we're driving each other apart. But a principle exists, which is where I think there's different kinds of love. And I think that the kind of love that moves on principle, which says, look, I'm not even feeling this, but boy, come here, let's have a chat.
Love that. I guess I want to ask this question. Oh, it's gone on my head now. Just came to my head. It was talking about this. It's gone on my head. It was a good question as well. I'll come back to it. It will come back to me. Okay, cool. So obviously you guys have just shared some really great stuff there in terms of, having that by principle, you seeing that the person kind of moving off and then trying to make sure they stay grounded and come back together and stuff like that. Obviously you guys have been together for, done marriage 20 years, right? What would you say are some key principles, very shortly? What are some key principles that people should take away in terms of keeping the marriage alive?
Tough times will come. Like stuff will come that can absolutely rock you. That could be death, that could be debt, that could be anything, you name it, we've had it. And it's the making of you. So one of my finger is on the pulse, which says it's the making of you, and the other finger says, I hate this difficult moment. I want it to stop. I wish it never happened. But then I wrestle with the other side, what says, this is why you are where you are. This has been the chiseling of you. This has been the making of you. So that hard times will come. It can make you, so let it make you. Let it fully refine you and give you a new definition and a new outlook together. You can make it, although sometimes it feels you can't. But hard times will come and are sometimes necessary.
I would say, and it's interesting, you've asked me this 5 years ago, and a year before that, and a year before that, I'll give you different answers. In this last couple of years, I would say, don't be afraid to discuss and talk about any or every experience that is relevant. The traumas, the past, the present, the fears, the strengths, the weaknesses. Have no fear between you in dealing with it.
I would add to that, it's okay to get counseling, Black people. It is all right.
Come on now.
It's all right to get therapy. It's all right to have an outside person give you some pointers of how you could do things better or how you can see things differently. That's okay as well. So do that. Give yourself an MOT, we call it.
Yeah.
Give yourself a treat. You know, forget the garms for a minute and give yourself a brainwash and, you know, a clean up of the heart. Just do that with an external person who has no connection with your community. I would advise doing that.
I don't recommend the pasta.
No. Somebody's totally out of your circle, so you don't need to hide. You don't need to be worried about your reputation.
That's true.
That's why we would say not your own personal pastor, but a licensed therapist is good.
Or a good therapist.
Or a good therapist, yeah, not necessarily licensed, or a good one. Do you know what I mean? I also think share your story. It will help somebody. You know, when you lift up your top and you see that you got a belly. Oh, you got one too. You know what I mean? It's like, share your story. Your belly is big and so is mine. Let's just normalize it, but we're going to do something about it together. Your story could help somebody else. Your story, you know, when we share the depths of our story, it's like people are like, so how are you still here? You know? And it's that what has allowed us to want to do on a platform like this, to say, look, as I said, the strap line is always stay the course. Like, love never fails, stay the course as best as you can, because we've been through it. So stay the course. So share your story. It makes you less selfish. You stop focusing on yourself and start thinking, how can this help somebody else?
I want to throw one in.
Go for it.
You just slipped me. Oh my gosh.
Happened to me too, bro. Don't worry.
It was it's gone. Oh man. I'm gonna remember when we end the show.
It'll come to you. I guess a question I wanted to ask that was around, because I Instagrammed story today about emotional safe space. How do you guys handle emotional safe space, and has it always been from the very beginning you started that you understood how to create an emotional safe space for each other within the marriage?
It's just a no. It's just a no.
No. It's been with time. It's taken time. Because, as I said, we're wired differently. So I think in the beginning, I was somebody who was a crier a lot, expressed it a lot, where Kurt was very different with that. So he didn't express his emotions in the same way. It was always like, I'm cool, I'm fine. Where mine would be out.
What you crying for?
What you crying for? So we've had to learn it. Kurt.
You know, again, Juanita and I come here, and we've been doing our show because we have many fractures, and we know a lot of married couples, and we know what marriage is like. So for those who are preparing for single dating, you know, whatever, and married, it's like, let's be honest about the journey. With Juanita and I, we have strengths and we also have weaknesses. And one of our weaknesses is that we have opposed mindsets. We are wired differently emotionally. We handle trauma differently. And so it's not even just, along with that challenge, it's not even just that we are different. It's the perception of safe can be an issue.
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean? And if you're trying to change perception, you're looking at time. Because you can't force safe on somebody. And the dating phase and the marriage status are different times. So, you know, that whole honeymoon thing that couples do have, and you're like, I want to get that back. You see it in the shows. I want to get that back. You're not getting that back. Move up to the next level. You now have to learn. I have to learn to be safe for her, not just safe. You know what I mean? I'm here. I listen to you. Talk to me. I just have to breathe funny, and it could make her feel funny.
Okay.
So I have to change everything about me, and that takes time.
That takes time.
But don't get me wrong. Juanita knows everything. And because I've taken the risk personally to tell her secrets, her response on that occasion made it so that the next time I have a secret, I can tell Juanita. You're thinking, how can you be married with secrets? Of course you can, because I'm learning about myself. So yeah, we are actually always working on that.
And it changes over time. I think who I was at 26 is not who I am at 46 now. My emotional development has changed. My emotional intelligence has changed. The way I manage stuff is totally changed. So the space changes as you grow. Space changes as you age. The stuff I would have cried for before, I don't cry for now. And the stuff you would never catch me crying for, I am crying for. So, you know, or does bug me, or does, I don't know, work with my emotions. And Curtis has always been that safe space, but it changes. It's changing. It's broadening. It's contracting all the time because my needs are changing and his needs are changing. I find safety here.
Let's be real. Let's be more in the real. Kendrick Brown made a comment, and he says, you know, you need. I guess you'd need to know your emotional. Yeah, go on. I guess you need to know your emotional safe space before you can express the need to your partner. Interestingly, and let's be fair, none of us here come as complete packages. Yeah. When we enter into relationship, actually, we are actually more undone as we go through, because I was emotionally intelligent for me until I met Juanita. Do you understand? And vice versa, right? So give grace. Everybody has to grow. Emotional intelligence for your own self means nothing, because when you have to have a relationship, you have to have an emotional intelligence for the other person who is probably opposite to you. Yeah. We can't do these light, man.
We had to tell you the truth, people. We had to tell you the truth.
Let me go here.
Go for it. Go for it, please.
Listen,
feel free.
I just want to deal with this. We have to choose a partner. If we do, the truth is we don't know who they really are. We don't, and just as bad, we don't even know who we are. Right?
It's a dark truth.
So stop putting pressure on this perfect guy and this perfect girl. Okay? And if you like them for their body now, it may well change.
Hallelujah. I mean, yeah.
And if you and this is the thing about marriage, because yes, we are telling you it's hard, but we're also telling you how to make it easier, right? Your wife's body is going to probably change. But if you have a great friendship, you won't mind.
So's your husband's body.
My body ain't changed.
You could get a dad bod. He ain't got one now.
Dad bods are in now, you know that. Everybody wants a dad bod now, right? And it's okay. It's your friendship that makes it beautiful. Now, everything you see, from the fart to the gloss, yeah, everything you see is going to change, but you will love it because of your friendship. So we're trying to get people to dig down and talk about who they really are, and have a set of principles of being transparent and vulnerable, so that you can smile in your marriage. Every day we have to put in some work. I swear, the moment we take our eye off, it can be a problem. You know what I mean? But I've made a choice, and I will not stop.
This has been the biggest personal development course I've ever been on.
Jeez.
I mean, by force. I am changing. I have changed. I have had to change and adapt. I am challenged to change. And there's some parts of it where I'm like, I don't want to change. I don't mind this part of me, but I realize then this can't work.
Oh, wow.
So I have to. And, we sit here not as a finished product. 20 years isn't a finished product. If we were sitting here and saying we were 63 years in, 64 years in, we're still not a finished product. This is the process of sanctification. This does not end in justification. You're going to keep going. You got to keep going, keep changing, keep developing, keep growing. But no, we're not finished. But I am recognizing where it has benefited me in the areas that I've seen growth, and the areas where I've seen growth in Kat as well.
Likewise. We're the best team. We're the best team. Like, I've got nowhere else to go. I'm so glad. And the thing is, when it was a ride or die. And we've been working hard, especially of late, to make sure that it's a genuine smile that we're putting in each other's face.
You said something the other day about you would rather have something, not plastic. I don't know what you said.
What did I say?
No gloss, no fake gloss or something like that.
Can't remember.
Yeah, he said something what hit me. He doesn't want. I can't remember the word. About fake, no fake gloss. Something like that. Yeah. In other words, this has to remain true, and it will.
Yeah. There's no delusions here. We need to lie. We put it on the table. Expectations, like, my needs are changing. If she hasn't caught up, it's a problem. And she got to know, but I might be scared to take, or she might be scared to hear it. It's like, no, you both got to be, I don't know. This is me, this is you. The last year I found that I just need this. Can you do it? I'm just asking you genuinely, can you do it? No, don't talk like that. Well, my marriage, we mashed up a long time. I'm just saying, you got to ask those questions, and this is the one I'm asking, and that's it. I'm happy for that. You better work. That short blondie. what that mean?
It's a bit of work.
You read it wrong.
I read it wrong. Tell me.
A bit of work, that short blondie. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. But I'm definitely hearing what you guys are saying. There's a beauty and there's a realism behind marriage. You know what I mean? There's a beauty of learning about one another. There's a beauty of enjoying the process and the journey. And there's a beauty in terms of obviously finding someone who is going to ride with you in the sunset. I know you use the words ride or die. I know what you mean by that in a sense. I want to ask one last kind of question. Has there been any points, you can pass on this if you don't want to, has there been any points where you said, today, I don't know if I'm going to make this, I don't know if this is for me anymore? And you've had that serious consideration in your head. I don't know if you want to answer that, I don't know if you can, but I thought,
Yeah. Go on, have you?
Yeah. You do. I mean, I recognize that I'm not going anywhere. So
don't go anywhere.
Anyway, don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
No one can handle this. You get me? It's just, I'm a lot. You get me? I know I'm in the right space. But not so much as going anywhere, but just feeling like is Kurt willing to wait for me to keep changing or me to get through this section of my life? Do you know what I mean? Has he got the wherewithal? Has he got the staying power for real, dog? Really? You can really do this? Or can I do this for him? Can I be that eternal one for him? It has come with doubt. In times of pressure, though. So I recognize that external pressure has been applied, so it's made it feel like, oh my days, life is just so hard. Like, can you tolerate me like this? I mean, we're stuck in a house in COVID. It's can you handle this? Really, that was more about me than about us. It was more about me feeling maybe aspects of maybe not feeling like enough or feeling inadequate. So that compounded those feelings more than us. I'm secure about this, about us. I'm not always secure about myself. Not always secure about my ability to sustain this at times. But that, as I said, has come with external pressure, which I have allowed to become internal, and it had no place there.
That's very reflective, Juanita. I just wanted to say this. I mean, our reaction to adversity, it's not all this. It's not the same. Juanita and I handle things differently.
Okay.
And you're looking at 20 years. You're looking at Juanita and I've been through almost, you name it. And so in times like that, where we've not been mature enough to manage these challenges, right? I was saying to Juanita, I think it was yesterday, the tools to manage back then. The only way that I would have when I was falling short in the marriage before, I would have always fallen short. I didn't have the tools. I wouldn't have done anything different. And I look back and I think, what would I do? If I was to go back, I'd do things different. But back then, I was going to do this, right? And so when things went pear-shaped, there were moments when I thought, maybe this isn't going to work. And I say that I've recognized, because I think some people stay there without the tools. I've recognized the patterns of those feelings are one of the patterns of that feeling of this ain't gonna work is with us, with me, a moment. When I've been angry, I'm like, from this day, I will never talk to you again. I've said that in my head how many times? But I haven't felt like that. Bro, I said it with conviction. You understand? I'm in the bed. I'm on the edge of the bed because I'm sleeping on my side like this because I'm angry. And I'm like,
and I still give him the cover,
I was thinking, are you mad? I'm angry.
My foot's cold. I've got to warm it up. I usually warm it up.
There's been some anger in a brother that is like, I've made up my mind. I made up my mind. I'm done. It's a moment. And a lot of couples have to recognize that there's a moment of insanity that we try and hold on to. That's where power exists and getting mine back. And so I think that ultimately, and we've seen it with many other couples over the years, and in history, that will destroy you. You know what I mean? So just remember, that's just a moment. Don't let that dictate your future actions. If you don't work out, you step away in love. You don't need to step away in anger. That will destroy you.
I love that, man. I love that. And I love the fact you said it's a moment of insanity. And I'm guessing that's probably where that moment of insanity is where people can not think, not take time, and do something reckless in that moment that can really put the marriage on rocks, for real, So, okay. I said that was my last question, but
all right.
I've got my point. Man of God, looking for a man of God. We'll come back to it. Go ahead.
Okay. So because obviously you guys both, I know you said you both had, some turbulence in your youth in terms of what you experienced. How much has past trauma, now you're, 20 years in and you can kind of look back retrospectively, how much has past trauma that you've experienced spoken within the marriage?
Oh, mate.
Speaking
even. Yeah, thank you.
I think I remember we did a like a conference and a gig and people expected me to say, well, now I'm a believer. It's all gone. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's here. It is here. It is part of me. My trauma's here. It's here every day. It doesn't control me, but I'm aware of it. I'm aware that
it can influence.
It can influence. I'm aware that you know, I was away from when we was dating. If we were play fighting and Curtis one time he just put his hand there, I was like, nah, you can't do that.
I was like, the heck?
That was 20.
Paying.
That was 20, that was 22 years ago.
That was just before we got married.
That was just before we got married, and
you never told me.
Yeah, and he did it the other day, and he goes, "I can," and I said, "No, you still can't. You can't. You can't put your hand there. You can't, because it reminds me of what I saw as a child. It is very much still with me. I don't like loud banging noises or shouting. No, that reminds me of my past. It brings back my traumatic past. It didn't go away when I got married. It didn't go away when I became a Christian. It's still with me, but sorry to cut you. It's manageable.
Yeah, as I was going to say, you manage it.
I manage it. I'm aware of it.
Some traumas, you're just there forever. That's who I am. You just have to learn to manage it.
I can't forget what I saw. I can't forget my past. I manage it. And what I do recognize, when Curtis used to say to me, one, I am not your dad. That took a long time to get into my head. And now I believe him. He's not. And he won't do me like that. Do you know what I mean? So the answer to your question is, yeah, it's still here, mate. It's still here, but it doesn't take over.
Can I answer this?
Yeah. No, maybe the trauma for you.
Yeah, trauma's there, man. I mean, it's I guess my management system of life, I'm very internal. And so my problem is that I can keep it in and you wouldn't know, and I probably wouldn't even know. I internalize so heavily that memories disappear. And so it might not be safe for Juanita to try and bring things up for me, because I don't know how to pack it back away. So we learn about each other, and it's like some things Juanita is, I have to live with that. I didn't want to accept that in early years. It was the Great Wall of China between us. But time, maturity, love, long suffering, and the model of Christ to mankind has taught me, specifically the model of how Christ meets mankind has taught me, you have to work with people where they are. We do it in our jobs in social care. So why shouldn't we do it in our homes? So there is a lot there for me. Juanita she will see where I'm getting to a point, and then she'll just back off. When we're talking about when we're having conversation, you know what I mean? There's a lot of questions here, but I don't know how much time we've got. But there was one up here, the Tiffany, 949. I wonder if they are fearful of being judged by God, even fathom divorce. Is there anything aside from violence that would justify divorce? I don't know if your question's for us or for the topic. Yeah, there is a place for divorce. But for us, we don't operate within the classic religious sphere. We are strong believers in Jehovah God, but we don't move according to the common culture of it all. So
even I'm not afraid to fear. No,
my divorce, and I would only be divorced because I was justified. So I wouldn't fear God. But even if I was unjustified, God is going to work with me. But we're not getting divorced.
Amen.
We're not getting divorced. Don't make them people
Okay. So let me ask a question then. So how do you, so obviously when you guys are starting a relationship, you're unpacking maybe some of the stuff that you guys have experienced, you're learning this over the course of years, certain things are triggers for each other, you know. How do you find the patience to deal with one another when those moments are happening?
What makes you think we found the patience?
I'm not your mom.
Oh my gosh. I don't think we always find a patience.
Not always. No, it depends what it is. Depends on the size of the trauma.
Okay.
Depends on the trigger.
Yeah.
Depends on who. Depends on when. But no, we haven't always exercised patience.
Okay.
But then we also have. And you're patient until you get married. You're patient until you live with someone. You just gotta be patient to learn. Like you're gonna be triggering each other for some couples. You're just triggering each other for like 2-3 years solid. It's just been the same argument for years. The same.
Kodja looks stunned.
But it doesn't have to be like that, But some couples are. So I'm shouting. Sorry. Some couples are like that. Some couples are just because they haven't learned to just kind of let's handle this differently.
Sorry, we're not giving you the answers you want.
No. It's fine. It's real.
I think the concept of patience is that you don't get given patience. You have to meditate. You have to meditate on the reaction you want to have before it happens.
Yeah, you have to have a situation to produce patience. So it's on the job as well. Yeah.
So it's like, and I think that one of the great, if I had to have 3 tools, this would be in the 3. You meditate on your reaction. You just got to say, when she does this, I'm going to do this. And you got to think about it and meditate. When you meditate on God's word, you can't just be reciting the scriptures like the Pharisees in your head. You have to talk about how you're going to be when a situation arises, because the scriptures have to manifest. So you can't be, this is what I want to talk about, man of God.
Go for it.
Someone was talking about, this was going to a point we made earlier. I want a man of God. It's like a man of God is not a man who knows his Bible or attends church. A man of God is someone who demonstrates in their life Christianity. So a man of God, when he meditates on the word, he's thinking, how can I do this? How can I do that? How will I be in this time and that time? So with Juanita and I've had to start rewiring my mind to start meeting her needs. And if I'm getting heated, as I can, I have to start meditating. On a good day like today, I have to be thinking, right, you know what? If this happens where Juanita says this is how I want to react. Now I'm being, can I say it, a man of God? Is it bossy for me to say that? I'm trying to be a Christian, not be the theoretical. So I think that patience is a thing that you prepare for. You don't just get it. You have to
work for it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that you mentioned just that trying to be conscious of how you want to react. I remember there was a situation that happened to me some years back where I had you're going to call it a premonition or a vision of what was going to happen some moments later. Now, I didn't believe the vision. I was in the cinema, I was enjoying my film, and I saw a particular vision of something, and I reacted wild. And I said, I will never react like that. The situation literally played out as I saw in the vision, and I reacted wild. Because I was just so absolutely flabbergasted this person brought this nonsense to me. I thought it really was a vision. But so I'm definitely hearing you. Yeah, it's you've got to be conscious of your reactions. And it's something I always say to my friend, which is always that, you can be right about what happens, but the reaction can now make you wrong. You know what I mean? And your reaction actually can do more damage than actually what's been done to you. So yeah, I hear what you're saying about being conscious of reactions and stuff. Okay, someone said they wanted to ask this question, so let me ask it before they start chopping my neck off. How do you handle family conflict of others outside the marriage, I guess? And so how do you handle family conflict? I guess that happens outside the marriage.
That's a tough one, because is that conflict between them that we're getting involved in, or people towards us? Is a tough one.
Maybe if you could clarify that question.
Is that conflict where we're all involved in something, or because we have family conflict? I have conflict with members of my family, but I would like to say that
we don't have conflict about us with others.
No,
I think the person said both.
Yeah, there's a There's like a healthy respect where family members, you don't get involved in
in-laws,
people's stuff. Yeah. We don't have that issue. Thank God. We got good on both sides. We got good in-laws who don't get involved like that.
Yeah, but if, let's say, for example, my mum was interfering too much, or my dad, or uncles, Juanita and I are not going to be arguing with each other over that. And I say that there are some things we'll argue over. That's not one of the things. We're not going to be allowing family to kind of interfere with our marriage. And what we don't do is it's not that it hasn't happened, but we generally just do not. We've never had those big family arguments or be beefing.
Or funny in-laws. We've never had that. Our parents have been all right. No. They've not been inappropriate or cross boundaries. Nah.
You don't allow that in your relationship. You've got to know what you're about, both of you, and work on that, man. Don't strengthen yourselves, man. Don't fortify yourself. Don't allow mummy's boy nest, all that happening. You're not ready.
And I think that it could have been tried in the preparation for our wedding. There was requests made, and there was some bits when we, I remember, those days it was unheard of kind of making your own invitations.
That's what we did.
And we did that because we had the technology and the printer and everything else. We did it. But the parents didn't accept it. They wanted us to buy John Lewis wedding invitations. And we said, these are going out. If you want to send John Lewis invitations to your friends, you're welcome to, but these are still going out. And I feel that that's when we made that kind of respectful but joint decision. We said, this is where we want it. And this is the way it's got to be. Yeah.
Okay. I hear that. Okay, cool. Because we're coming up to the hour and a half mark now. So I guess final thoughts I'm going to ask for you guys. So just to maybe someone can catch the very end of the show. What is one thing? Let me end on a nice note. Tell us one thing that you love about each other. Tell us one thing that you love about each other. We'll end on that note. It's something cute,
I'm going through it all in my head. I'm going sorting them out.
Curtis, look at us.
I got one, but and I'm just not going to accept that it's shallow. I love the way you look. I love the way you look.
Oh, mate.
I'm loving a blonde.
Oh, baby.
Hey, the blonde is sparkling right now because it's sparkling.
Cheers, bro.
I think I like. I'm going to say it straight, man. I like the way you look.
I can tell the way he's looking at you right now, girl.
Yeah. You might have to close this thing down in a second.
Than 20, you understand? You know what I mean?
Do you know what? What I love the most about Curtis is that he has this blonde thing's making me laugh. Thank you. He has been willing to grow with me, to grow with the best parts of me and the worst parts. He knows the best and the worst, and he still chooses every day to commit. And that makes me just love him, because I'm like, you know this when the camera's off. You know this when the door's shut. You know this when the car door's shut and you left church or you left work. You know this full human. And you're still here. I'm grateful for that. I am grateful. I love him for that.
You're getting the compliments. I want to say something as well. I want to say that
go for it.
This is real. Again, very real. I've let Juanita down at the very earliest stage. Nothing to do with fidelity, just let you know.
You always got to throw that in there because
I got to make sure, because we're men.
What? Sorry, what, sir? You let the blonde lady down? What you talking about?
She wasn't always blonde, people, you know. But I let Juanita down at the very, in the first year. Things went pear-shaped because of something I did. It was honest, but it was just a mad thing, right? And she's just been there.
With a struggle,
but whatever we went through at this end, we're at the better end.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's real.
We thank you, for, I don't know, allowing us to speak on this significant time. Tomorrow's our anniversary. And, I remember preparing for that day. My dress went wrong. I had 7 dreams that the dress went wrong and the dress did go wrong and I had to get one at the last minute. And, at this time, 20 years ago, my grandma was getting very ill then. And she slept over at the house. And I remember she woke me in the morning with her strong St. Lucian accent. Get up, get ready to marry the man. He's not waiting. I'm like, Mom, it's still early. And I got up and got ready and walked down the aisle and had no idea of where I was going and what I was walking into.
Yeah.
I just knew, love this man, let's just get on with it.
Keep pushing.
But I didn't know the lessons that would be learned along the way. I pray to God for his grace and that we live long for a long marriage, and I would love to link him in the kingdom. I know there'll be no marriage and giving of marriage, but maybe some exception can be made for us. But I would love to be with him forever, and he's given me 3 beautiful children, and the way he has parented has been an example. I wasn't parented the same way, so even in some aspects when he parents, it feels like he is a father figure to me as well, in a wholesome way.
Okay.
So for me, he's a fountain of knowledge. He knows everything about every subject. Me and my oldest daughter roll our eyes. We're like, what does he not know? Can't we find something that he doesn't know, that he can't expand on? And he's a totally different character than me. When I first said yes to marriage, I thought I was marrying myself. I was like, he's just like me, so it's going to be good in it. It's going to be all right. And when I found out that it was so opposite, it was just a shock of my life. It was like, no, it's too risky. So we talk about in our videos that I went around turning off all the red lights on the plugs. Telly couldn't stay on standby because the house was going to set on fire. Couldn't do none of that. And he was just like, go back and turn them on. What are you turning everything else? What are you turning everything off for? That's how I've grown. I'm risk averse, where he is more risky. He's not. And so there was so much opposites. And if I had seen it on paper, I would have said, nah, this can't work. If you had shown me if you had shown me in advance, I'd be like, this can't work.
It can't work. That's the thing.
But it works because we're so different.
If you put us on paper and if you put our experiences on paper, we were done from chapter 1.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
It's deep.
Yeah. So I am.
Anyway, let me start there.
Yeah. 20 years has gone fast and slow. 20 years has been filled with a lot. 20 years has been cocooned within attention at times. But that tension has done this, brought us closer than apart. And sometimes I want to undo aspects of the past, but I can see the new Spider-Man's coming up, and he says, if you let Aunt May and the other girl he fancies, they may not know that you're Spider-Man if you change all this stuff. And I always think if I change the bit of our story which I don't like,
We wouldn't be here.
And the same time I go, I wish that wasn't a feature. But I pray that I will grow in maturity to accept that God has a path for us to walk in, and we have walked in it by his grace, and that he knows what he's doing with our lives. And he is the one who I give praise for putting us together and keeping us together. Because many people with our story would have said, you lot should have been done by now. But we're here. 20 years goes fast, people, and it goes slow.
So live well.
So live well, man. Do it right.
I just want to thank you all for the comment.
And thank you for your blessings. There's some blessings on. Somebody sent a little blessing. Thank you. Bless us in your words. in any other ways you can, bless us.
That's right.
So I just want to say, guys, get your counseling
From us.
Well, I was going to
Yes.
say Kojo first, actually.
Yeah.
I know it
okay,
depends. If you marry, guys, you might wanna. If you're getting married, then you guys are gonna be.
Okay, so I'm coming to that. Bro.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
So, listen, Kojo. Look, Kojo gives a strong word and he gives strong counsel. He's very good. Hook him up if you need it. But people, stop waiting. Stop waiting till things get bad.
That's true.
I can't help raising my voice.
Do you know, whenever you raise your voice, I look at Juanita like, I know she gonna give him that body language.
The hands going.
Get your counsel from this brother, and if you are looking for relationship or marriage support, let us know.
Come on.
Stop waiting.
Tell them where to find us. Then.
This is Marriage UK. See it on the screen there.
Let me take my thing off.
This is Marriage UK on YouTube, Instagram, and we're touching TikTok now.
You on TikTok? You on TikTok?
I'm addicted.
A bit. We go way back with the videos, like 5 years.
TikTok.
You know what I mean? On YouTube and then Instagram, you can catch us as well. And we've got some future stuff coming.
Yes, and Kojo will be doing some stuff together soon, right?
Yeah.
It's the phone in, right?
Yeah, the phone. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't wait. Because these guys have been asking it for so long. And I said to you, didn't I say to you, I'm not going to do it alone. Because these guys have been asking me for so long. Like, I've been seeing messages. People like, so what, Coach? You should just do it like a phone in. I'm like, yeah. Nobody wants to be a Derek Jackson. So we're going to be doing it. Me and Curtis. Yeah, me and Curtis. Which means it saves me becoming Derek Jackson, guys, isn't it? So we appreciate it. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing a live phone in, guys, for you guys. Yeah, so you guys can come and drop in, ask some questions, say your scenarios. I'm sure it's gonna get deep, so you guys might have to grab a tissue and that. You know what I mean?
Thank you, bro.
Yes. No, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. I can't wait for us to connect again. Thank you as well, and happy 20-year anniversary. I know we're a day early, but we want to shower you a little bit of blessings, and you're an inspiration, for us, because no one's asked for perfection. We want the realness, and you guys have shared that realness with us, and that should give us hope going into our marriages and keep us sober. You know what I mean? Christianity is also sober, so our marriages have to be sober. No one wants to go into a fairy tale. It's a real thing that we're going into. It takes hard work, but there's a beautifulness about it as well. So we love that you're sharing that story with us as well. So we can't wait to see more. Next time we have to do part more of the story, because I did a whole jump. You know what I mean? I skipped the whole middle. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to just get straight to this part, but I'm sure you guys got more stories. You know what I'm saying?
Part two,
Part two, yeah. We have to do a part two so we can get more of the stories. You know what I mean? So, all right, audience members. Thank you once more. We'll let you know when we're doing a live phone in. Please do follow also This Is Marriage UK. If you are looking for counselling, please, This Is Marriage UK. If you're looking for marriage counselling, even if you're dating and you're going to get married, go to This Is Marriage UK, man. Do you know what I mean? If you're on that verge of making that decision, I think it's even more important that you guys head over to This Is Marriage UK and get that important knowledge as well, right? Because you don't want to be, like you said, you don't want to be waiting till you're in the mud already. Okay, that's harder. I got to pull you out, and nobody wants to do that. Okay, but yeah, guys. Thank you so much, Curtis, Juanita. I appreciate you. And make sure you enjoy your 20th anniversary. Audience members, it's been blessed. It's been nice. We're going to see you guys very, very soon. I'm going to go out for our outro, baby.
Littleblackbook, you know what time it is.